Welcome to Politics Done Right. I am your host, Egberto Willies. This is a progressive program that will take the mystery out of politics. This is the program that will encourage you to make sure government becomes we the people. Whether you are liberal, progressive, conservative, or otherwise, you get to hear your point of view. We are an independent media outlet that, unlike mainstream media beholden to corporations, we only owe allegiance to you. Remember, you can also send me a tweet at EGBERTOWILLIES. That is at Egberto Willies. Let us engage. It is Politics Done Right.
Well, folks, welcome to one more edition of Politics Done Right. I'm Egberto Willies, your host. I am so sorry for being late, but just at the end of the program on TV, I saw a video that shook me to the core, and I had to process it right away. I had 3 minutes to do it, and I kind of rushed it. I want you guys to see this video. I'm going to wait for a few more people to get on before I show it, but it shows you the inhumanity of what we have become. The inhumanity of what we have become. Let me go ahead and start by welcoming a few folks first, and then we'll go ahead and get started. Welcome aboard AVQ from Brooklyn, New York. We got Joe from Los Angeles, California. We have in the house Yvette Abrahart from Atlanta, Georgia. Patrick Magner from Houston, Texas. Bruce Pollard from Kingwood, Texas. Let's see who else we've got. Margaret Ryan, welcome aboard. Remember, we missed the first few on Substack. Paul Fleming from Powder Springs, Georgia. Ann Emery, Margaret Ryan. We also have Michael Greenman, Margaret, Todd Richardson. And there's more coming. I'll get to it. Sorry we had to start. I'm about 4 or 5 minutes late. Sorry about that. But I wanted this. I needed you guys to see this video. I needed you, Michael Greenman from Columbus, Ohio. I needed you guys to see this, and Margaret is from Eastern Washington. Anyway, let me go ahead and start with Michael. People Magazine, Fox News. Jesse Waters calls to bomb UN, or maybe gas it after broken escalator and teleprompter during Trump's visit. Claimed on the 5 that the escalator and the teleprompter malfunctioned during the Trump's United headquarters on Tuesday as an insurrection, and what we need to do is either leave the UN or bomb it. I swear, these guys are crazy, because let me tell you, the escalator stopped because his photographer tripped the thing upstairs when he was trying to come down on an escalator going up. That's the report so far. And the teleprompter was actually being managed by Trump's people, not by the UN. So please, let's be real here. Natalie Lago from Hampton, Virginia. Thank you for being here, Natalie. So I mean, the level of misinformation is so far deep embedded in our system, and the other thing that we have to get rid of is falling for it. And Democrats better learn how to fight. Michael Radin says the indictment of James Comey, the former FBI director, has long been a target of President Trump's campaign for retribution. A grand jury indicted James Comey, the former FBI director, on Tuesday night. It is a case that Trump has personally demanded that federal prosecutors pursue despite their doubts whether Comey committed the crime or not. I'm going to tell you guys something. Let me finish up. Trump ran on a campaign of revenge politics to politicize the FBI and DOJ, demand fabricated charges, and use government to go after his political enemies. Never in the history of our country have we fallen this far. Trump is an angry clown with a flamethrower. Let me tell you guys something, okay? I have no sympathy for... Welcome, Angie Decadence. I have no sympathy for Comey. Even though my good friend Greg Pallas doesn't believe that Comey's what he did with Hillary had an effect on the thing, I am still dubious about it, and it shouldn't have been done. But Comey was always in the bag for the right? So, he's sleeping in the bed that he made, as far as I'm concerned. I mean, I hate to see that somebody gets tripped up for not being guilty of something. But you know what? He allowed the guy in power, the guy who we all knew would operate in that fashion. They didn't care that they were putting an incompetent thug in the White House. They didn't care. They just wanted one of theirs in the White House. You know, they just wanted one of theirs in the White House, no matter what type of thug it became. And they're getting the results of the thug they put into office. Now, however, the Democrats better get their act together and learn how to fight appropriately. They need to learn how to fight appropriately. All right, I'm not going to read that last one. You guys in the chat can read it on your own. Everybody is killing everyone or just letting it happen. It's a shame, Bruce. You know, we have to do better. I saw some TikToks that talk about why is it that we don't learn that we are our brothers and sisters' keeper. All of us need to learn that. You know, if I see somebody hurt, I want to help them. Although the way the system is starting to work right now, you go ahead and well, I'm not going to go there. Let's see. Paul Fleming reported 100K tariff on pharmaceuticals that are imported into the United States. This certainly will increase the price of drugs. Yep, somebody paying him off. But anyhow, okay, let me, I'm going to hold a little bit more and I'm going to say this. Let me pull those videos up because in being late, all the 2 videos that I have to show today, I have not pulled them up. So let me get the ICE video and let me also get the interview video. I interviewed one of our own this morning because I just thought it was time and I wanted to lighten things up a bit today. So I interviewed one of our own listeners who had something interesting to say. So I wanted to bring that in. But in the interim, let me pull in that, let's see, come on, I need to get to you. Date, where is the date? Creative writing, there we go. Found it. All right. So, Egberto, if you need some stall time, please play this. What is that? Let's see, what is that?
What's up, Dr. Evil? Stephen Miller.
Oh, guess what? I wish I could play it, but I get into... YouTube really hits you hard on this stuff, man. I'm sorry I can't do it. I would love to, but they'll give me a strike on that one. Nadi Lago says, remember in the 2002 Moscow theater hostage crisis, Putin ordered his special forces to pump an incapacitating gas into the theater before raiding it and ended up killing more than 130 people. I remember well. All right, I'm probably play this video now and then play it again at the end. If you want to see what inhumanity looks like, and this is what the rest of the world is going to see about us, the ones who believe me, check this out, and I want you to see what's going on.
Just grab her, pull her away. Suerte, señora. Suelta a la niña. Suelta a la niña. Adiós. Adiós. Oh my God. Press.
All of our country's problems, from polarization to ignorance on domestic and international.
Now, did you guys see what that animal, and we have to refer him exactly what he is, an animal. That little girl They're taking her mother away. I tell you what. We had a whole bunch of people that just came in again. This stuff is hitting me to the core, folks. I mean, I want you guys to see it, and I want you guys to feel it. So let me set it up again. If we in America like to think about ourselves that we have grown into a country of compassion, yes, we had a poor start. Yes, we had slavery. Yes, we had genocide. Yes, we had all these things. But as we grew, we attempted to become better people. Women's rights, equal rights, civil rights. And then we get this regression because many decided to elect a thug, a fascist, an evil person into power. For those that have just come in again, I want you to see this and hope that you felt or feel what I'm feeling when I see what this animal did, this ice animal did to a young woman. A natural response is you're breaking up a family. A mother is being taken away from her teenage daughter or maybe younger, and the daughter is grabbing onto the mother, and you have this animal of an ICE agent. Check, and you know, this is what we get, right? The only people who would want to be ICE agents right now are animals who want to do this to people. Check this out, and then we'll take it on the other side.
Just grab her, pull her away. Suerte, suerte, señora. Suelta a la niña, suelta a la niña. Señora, venite acá. Adiós. Adiós. Oh my God.
You can only get animals to do this kind of work. You can only get animals to do this kind of work because this is unjust, this is evil, and anybody wants to make it seem any other way for political correctness or whatever. Anybody accepting these kinds of a job, how can you see them but for what they are? And that demonstration, that what we saw, is on camera. Think about when the camera isn't there. Again, the people that want this job, that are lining up for this job, are in the same ilk as our president. It is a shame what we are becoming and what we have allowed. And there should be no, going forward in elections in this country, anybody who votes for anybody right of center that is supporting this is your instantiation of evil abstracted. I can't tell you the feeling that's going through my body right now. I can't express the feeling that's going through my body right now. That little girl, I have a daughter. I have a daughter. I have nieces, cousins. And my reaction to anybody who would have treated them like that I don't know what my reaction would be. I really don't. And if you can watch that and not have your blood boil, if you can watch that and not feel that empathy, there is something wrong. And the cancer that Donald Trump and his ilk and the right has allowed to metastasize, I tell you, man, I don't have any words for this. But spread this. Let folks know what's being done in their names. This isn't policing. This isn't maintaining our safety. This is simply the instantiation of evil. Nothing more, nothing less. All right, guys. Egberto, when you have some time outside, yes, I do. I forgot to give you a call. Drop me an email, please, Michael. Please drop me an email with that number, etc. Right now, I'm not in a good state. Earlier today, I had 2 interviews. One with Greg Palace that I have to go process. I kind of released it because we had some technical problems, but I need to process it correctly. And the other one is with our Tom Sarnik, and that's the one's going to play. It's a pleasant interview. I want you to listen to this. It's a very pleasant interview, and it gives us a little time to get away from this here. Michael says, Egberto, I used to run the local chapter of NYC 5 Boroughs Cap Block Facebook channel. Cases like this happen on a weekly, and it boiled my blood every time. After a while, it took a toll on my health and couldn't take it anymore. Let's see. Did you ask me to do something or something? No. I'm okay. That was for Michael Greenman. The email, egberto@egbertowillies.com. egberto@egbertowillies.com, Michael. But anyway, let me play this interview. I need to take, let's see, Egberto, your E2247, Egberto, your Marjorie suffered by seeing that is also my moral injury. Unfortunately, it is also an injury of the gun that separated the parent from the child and then assaulted the parent upon zero provocation. Absolutely. And you know, I get you, brother. I get you. So anyhow, send it by email, Michael, your cell phone number. All right, let me go ahead and play the interview that I did today, and then we'll take care of it. All right. Welcome to another edition of Politics Done Right. I'm Egberto Willies, your host. Today I have a special guest, somebody that's been with us before. I'm here with Tom Sarnik. In his retired years, Tom has become what I call a poet, an author, and an activist, and quite a bit more. How you doing today, Tom?
Oh, I feel great seeing you again.
Well,
I've been in the shadows watching you and listening to you in the morning. So I feel like I'm connected to your program. I haven't really gone away, but I haven't identified myself as much as you probably would like me to. And I haven't been writing as much poetry lately. I've been writing articles for Daily Costs mainly. So that's what we want to talk about today, too.
Yeah, I've seen that you've written quite a few articles at Daily Coast, but let me just tell our audience, as you know, Politics Done Right, we have a lot of audience participation, both in chat, phone calls, and people even send me emails. And Tom is one of those that he's participated in all 3, phone calls, emails, chats, but there's something else special. He is what I call our poet laureate, because he sends out and he puts out some great limericks that have great presence for any particular day. In fact, I don't think we've gotten a limerick from you lately, Tom.
Right. I haven't been writing limericks. I've been trying, actually, off and on. I don't know. I don't see as much humor going on. It's a little tough to make a limerick about Charlie Kirk, for one thing. I mean, that's pretty sad. So, I mean, it's, I don't know. I guess I lost my inspiration a little bit because of the dark side that's been in the news lately. But I plan on doing some more. I will. I got some ideas. So I hope to get something to you soon.
Well, the limericks that you gave, a lot of times you've taken a lot of negative stuff and made it humorous. In fact, you get quite a bit of claps when you do it on from our Substack audience whenever you come out with one of those limericks. But there's a concept that you have called creative writing activism, and I think the limericks fall right into that domain as well. So why don't you tell me about what you, as a writer, and I really want to stress that as a writer, what you think is your contribution with what you call creative writing activism?
Okay, this is something new for me because I've been writing this journal. It's called Corona Notes since May of 2020, and I have about 450 pages written. And until recently, I only read it or submitted parts of it to close friends, and they liked it. And one of the ladies that was listening to what I was reading and kind of liked it, said, well, why don't you publish it? When are you going to publish it? And I kept thinking, I don't know, if I should, because I'm a little bit nervous about that. What if people get the wrong idea? What if I get harassed? And then I came across Daily Kos or Kos, whatever. And I thought, wow, this is really interesting. Ordinary people, it seems, are submitting articles or stories, and they call them stories. And they get published, and they don't necessarily get a lot of likes, or it doesn't go viral. And I've got some. But the point is you're out there. You're putting yourself out there. Now, I did one thing that to kind of calm me down a little bit about doing that. I took up a pen name, and the pen name is John Quill, JONQUILL, so that I wouldn't necessarily be identified directly with my writing. So I've kind of chickened a little bit, but it has an impact. And even though it maybe I may get 20 people look at it or whatever at one time, it's like you feel like you're doing something. You're putting something out there. You're putting part of yourself out there and letting people know that you're on this side or their side, and you want to be sure that other people that have the same thoughts can do the same thing and encourage them. So my goal today, if anything, would be to encourage your listeners, your people in the chat, or people that call in, think about maybe submitting something online to Daily Kos. And I'm sure from listening to people talk to you and the writing in the chat room that people have a lot to say. And what I like about Daily Kos or Kos is that there's no word minimum or maximum. I mean, I've seen articles go on and on and on, but a lot of articles are just a few hundred words, and they're great. I mean, they make a point, and that's it. They're done. And I think that's fantastic. You don't have to be an author. You don't have to use all kinds of big words and things. You can just say what you're thinking and put it out there.
It is amazing because, believe it or not, I find that a lot of times just reading what people put out there is a catalyst for my programs.
Good.
You have been a catalyst for my programs many times. And the reason why, again, is we are trying to have some sort of an interconnection with people. And I think that is what's really missing in our society today. This rugged individualism that some preach is just a way of keeping folks apart. And when folks are kept apart, they think there are differences that aren't really there. And I think a lot of if you take a look at your writings, I've published some of them on politics, politicsdoneright.com, and you place some of them out there as well. We have quite a bit of your limericks out there as well.
Yeah, I need to update that. Yeah.
Yeah, so and now that you found Daily Kos, which gives you that unique audience with those journals that you write out there. I think they call them, is it journals they call them? I think they call them.
They call them stories.
Diaries.
Oh, there's diaries. But a lot of them are stories. They call stories too. It's like a story, but it's not a fictional story. It's a true story.
Right.
And they watch. They have an editorial staff that watches what you're putting out there, so you don't do something that's way off base. I've gotten a couple notices.
You have?
One of my articles, I use the term maggots, MAGATS, and I couldn't figure out at first what I did wrong. They blocked me, and so I had to write to them. I said, "What did I do?" And he says, "Well, look at your first line." So I looked at it and said, "Oh, they didn't like that. They have a policy that you're not supposed to attack people, especially groups."
Right.
with some kind of name or something like that. They don't have a problem with you attacking political figures and making funny names and stuff like that, which I sometimes do. But it's when you start putting a group and you're saying everybody's in this category, they don't like that. And I can understand that. I don't want to be called a libtard. So,
Yeah. Well,
so
as long as it's done fairly,
yeah.
I remember being hit at Daily Kos before, and I actually went all the way to the top and said, "Hey, guy, this is actually factual." And it was like, "Yeah, I agree with you, but we have a staff now that actually goes through and
Yeah, they look at it. Well, I was glad somebody was looking at it. I thought, wow, the editorial staff is really, they're reading what I'm writing. That's anybody that's a writer, I don't really have a goal of selling lots of books and stuff like that. And this is free, Daily Kos is free. You're not getting anything for it. You're just getting, the thrill of having something published. So, that's the real thrill is just having somebody read what you write and feel that you make a difference. And that's why I thought calling it creative writing activism, might perk up some other people to try their hand at it.
Actually, describe what you, when you say creative writing activism, I mean, a lot of people can't go onto the streets. And and I think if I understand your meaning correctly, it is like, but you have other platforms that you can actually make yourself be heard, right?
Well, this is the main one. I don't know. I mean, I don't know if you still have WordPress and you have Substack now, and I can put stuff out there, but I'm never sure who's reading it and how many and what impact it's making. That's what I liked about Daily Kos. You're getting some feedback, and it just encourages you to go and keep doing it. But if you're just sending stuff out, and let's say you're writing a letter or email to the congressman, or you're sending out letters to different groups, and if you don't get a response, you're thinking, well, what's the point? I'm not making a difference, and maybe I shouldn't be doing this if nobody's going to acknowledge. And it's just a thrill to get even one or two people saying, "Oh, that was good," or "I'd recommend that," or "Here's a comment. Maybe I didn't like it," or "I have something to add." But you're like you do with your chat room, you're getting some feedback. You feel like, okay, people are actually paying attention, and that's good.
That is so important. You're right about that. One of the reasons I am, and it doesn't matter how many people I eventually get, I'll always have that chat feature, and not only have the chat feature, but the chat and the phone. The emails features, because I want the feedback. And it doesn't, the truth of the matter is, let me just say one thing. When you write on places like Daily Kos, or even if you have it on my politicsandright.com website or whatever, I can tell you that most people, because we can actually see the metrics behind the scenes as far as how many times that article was pulled up, how many times, so we see that. And the fact of the matter is, when you put on those platforms, your article is pulled. Right.
Okay.
The thing about it is that most people pull an article, they read it, they don't like it, they don't put a comment on it. In fact, I read a lot of things, and I am trying to be better at it, in that I acknowledge that I like the articles that I'm reading, or I am trying to teach myself, or I shouldn't say, I'm trying to get sufficiently disciplined to put feedback, because just listening to what you just said, it gives me even more impetus that I need to go ahead and do that, because you just said it, right? When you put something out there, you want to know, is somebody actually seeing it or not? And while we can see the metrics behind the scene, you can't. So it is good for us to acknowledge it with the likes and the commentary.
Yeah. Well, let me give you a couple examples of the creative part of creative writing activism, because that's what really appeals to me. It's not so much just telling a story about what's happening in the news and that everybody's read. It's like thinking. You talk about critical thinking. You're always trying to write something where I'm stretching the boundaries of my thought process and trying to, challenge myself and other people. And one of the articles I wrote is called "I Am Spartacus." And what I did is I compared the movie Spartacus from 1960 with the movie Superman, which was recently came out. Mm-hmm. And the main thing that I came up with was that I was really impressed with the political part of a Spartacus movie. I don't know if you're aware of it, but at the time, there was a lot of blacklisting of writers and directors and things. And Kirk Douglas decided that he wanted to make this movie and give credit to the people that were blacklisted, that were writing this movie and producing it. And he got into all kinds of trouble for it. And the ironic part of it is the movie itself, I Am Spartacus, has to do with people speaking up against authority. The big scene in Spartacus is when the Roman centurions were looking for Spartacus, who had been a rebel against the Roman Empire. They thought they had him cornered, and there were a bunch of people, but they didn't know which one was Spartacus. So they went to the rebels and they said, "Okay, if one of you will turn in Spartacus, you'll be free. You won't be a slave anymore." And what happened was they looked at this Roman centurion, and one by one they said, "Well, I'm Spartacus. I'm Spartacus." And they all said, "I'm Spartacus." And, the Romans were like, "What? We can't tell who." So they ended up crucifying all of them. Mm-hmm. But the point is that I thought about this and I'm thinking, wow, what a lesson for today. I mean, I don't know whether this is going to happen or not, but I suggested the possibility that maybe with this the ICE raids and abductions, we need more people standing up and saying, well, I'm an immigrant. I'm maybe speaking Spanish and say, no hablo español, no hablo inglés.
No hablo inglés,
yeah. And then I want my lawyer. I forgot the word for lawyer. But
Quiero
anyway,
mi abogado.
Yeah. And I thought, wow, that's kind of bold. I know, and maybe they get really mad, but maybe we need a group that does that more and more. It's a nonviolent form of protest. I'm sure it would make them mad and they'd arrest a lot of people, but it would get a lot of attention and maybe it would change things. I'm not sure, but that's my thought.
Well, actually, it would change things. So when you get 3.5% of the people activated, you actually get a change. So I think a lot more people need to be doing it. It's amazing because if you take a look at what happened with Jimmy Kimmel, how that came back, that was the pushback was hard. I wish we pushed back hard like that on a lot of other things, right? Not just entertainment.
Yeah. Well, the other one I did recently, which it was different because I never saw this published before. It wasn't an article, really. It was a one-act play I wrote called Hegseth, Heyzeus, and it was, of course, a reference to Jesus at the same time. But
it's us,
yeah. In fact, I've heard that before used, But I was making a point in this very strange play that, first they come for this group and then they come for the next group and then they're eventually going to come for you. And that was the point of the play. There was if you look at Jesus look for it. I made an AI picture. That's one of the things too. I don't use AI for writing, but I do use AI for pictures sometimes. And I was able to make a picture of this big pair of orange buttocks on the stage, which represents someone we know in the highest office in the land. And these people were being pushed into this crazy the butthole of this big statue almost. And it was and I had a lot of fun writing it. And I kept thinking, one of the things I came up with was a group of people that had these big eyeballs. They were like ceramic eyeballs on a stick. And they were looking at everything that was going on. And they were the Nazis. Mm-hmm. But they were looking at everything. And I had fun playing with that word and all that. And I've heard it before, but the idea of big eyeballs looking at it was looking at the end of this play that's looking at the audience. And the audience is supposed to be a little bit nervous by the end of the play because maybe they're coming after you next. So that was interesting. It's just the way that came out. But that's part of the creative part of it. So you don't necessarily have to write a story. You can write a poem. You could write anything that's interesting.
Well, you wrote another one called The Department of Defense X.
Oh yeah, that's the latest one. Yeah, War. Yeah, that was an interesting thing. And again, it was like it just struck me that now when you read the Orwell's book 1984, he plays with that with the different agencies in the government Oceania and the country Oceania where. The Ministry of Truth is actually putting out lies, and different bureaus do the opposite of what the name says. But then I thought that's called doublethink. But I thought, well, why not make it triplethink? In other words, make the description or the words used for the bureau or the agencies exactly what they do, especially today.
Right.
And actually, Trump. It's interesting. He changes the Defense Department into the Department of War, which I think maybe that's not a bad thing, because you're actually saying he's signaling you what he wants to do with it. So we should pay attention what he changes the name. See, I thought of the Department of Labor as being the Department of Management, and all these different, Internal Revenue Service would be the refunds to the billionaire service, that type of thing. So you can play with those words and you can make something out of it that will make people sit up and think, well, whoa, maybe we should be paying attention to words and names. And the other thing I did in that article about what it's called, what's in a name, because that's from Shakespeare, Romeo and Juliet, is I took the word conservative, and I think I talked to you about this too at one time, but the word conservative, and I hear this word used for the right wing, I call them right-wing radicals, regressives. I think they should be called regressives. But the conservatives are not really conservative. We're the progressives. We're the conservatives. We're trying to conserve what FDR did and what has been done over the decades to improve our country with all the different Social Security and Medicare and Medicaid and all the different programs that help people. And we are trying to conserve. We're trying to conserve the air. We're trying to conserve the earth. We're trying to conserve people that are poor and sick. And it's like, yeah, we're the conservatives. So I played with that a little bit too.
You also played with something called a Nobel Peace Prize.
I was playing with the word peace, and I can't remember exactly what I said, but I think that Trump should be given some kind of award for just to keep him quiet.
Well, here's what you said. You said maybe it was to spite his Wall Street critics that Taco Man decided to get off the fence for once and give the green light to the GOP hawks at bomb the hell out of Iran. Actually, several big, beautiful bombs were dropped on few Iranian.
Yes, big, beautiful bombs. See, I don't even remember. That's the other thing about writing. A lot of times I don't remember what I've written until I go back and look at it. And sometimes I'm going like, whoa, did I write that?
That was a good article.
I'm going to give you a second here.
Yeah. I mean, the thing about it, again, when you talk about creative writing activism, as you're thinking about this and you're thinking about how can you paraphrase certain things, etc., it does two things, right? It does something for you, and it also does something for the others who are reading. I mean, the stuff that I write is so damn serious. And so, I mean, every now and then, it's not like you want to leave the politics, but you want to have a little bit of fun as well. And that's what I find in a lot of the stuff that you write in here. And not only that, it makes you think.
Right. And I had another one called the two-cone choice. And this was kind of, I got some likes on that one, actually quite a bit, because I was really getting upset with people saying, oh, the Democrats are not doing this, that, they blew the election. And I said, the Republicans basically give you this choice. They put this thing out that looks like a really beautiful ice cream cone with two scoops on it, and it's got a waffle cone, and it's beautiful looking. And then when you try to taste it, it tastes like crap, because it really is made out of crap. While the Democrats, they give you a plain vanilla cone or maybe yogurt, and it's healthy. And the people say, well, why should I make that choice when I can get this, great two scoops? Right. But they don't realize it's crap until it's too late.
But, and that's why, creative writing activism. I like that. Well, look, we're coming close on our time. So why don't you tell me or tell our audience something? Why get into creative writing activism? And, how can they get into creative writing?
Yeah, well, I would say I would expand that notion from creative writing to just creative activism, because I don't want people to say, well, I don't have any talent, I can't write, I can't create art or what. But I would like to see more people thinking outside the box and just, whether they're talking to other people or you're chatting on your show or calling in. Let's really go after different ways of going, changing our perspective on what needs to be done. Now, one of the things I came out with, and I can't remember what article it was, and I think maybe the last one. Oh no, maybe it's the one I'm working on. But I sent something to the Democratic Party, which is really making me nervous because they're not really. I'm afraid they're not going to be doing enough. But creatively, I thought, why don't we, instead of having all these protests all over the country, which, by the way, I'll be going to the next one on
October 16th, yeah.
16th, yeah, No Kings. But why can't we do something in Washington, D.C., and surround the White House? And I was thinking, other countries that have overturned their authoritarian governments, they basically went around to the presidential mansion and they just stayed there. And
Yes.
they beat pots and pans, and they would, do all kinds of theater. And then I thought they could have these eyeballs looking over the fence at just make it uncomfortable for him. I mean, I don't want to just, make him feel threatened, but we need to be more active in that sense, so we can be heard. I'm afraid he doesn't care what people are doing in Detroit or Ann Arbor or whatever around here. But, I would like to see us, maybe the Democratic Party, especially with this shutdown looming, push for some kind of a protest around the White House. But whether it's possible or not, I don't.
Yeah, I think the Democratic Party right now is far too quiet. I think they need to be doing quite a bit more. By the way, it's October 18th, the No Kings.
18th, okay, 18th,
October
okay.
18th. I want to make sure and not mess up that you haven't. But I agree with you. I think there's a lot more that we need to do. I think we need to be more present, and I hope we get there. But anyway, Tom Zornick, author, what I'm going to author, limerick. I'm going to also call you a creative writing activist, and we can throw a whole lot on you. Thank you, first of all, for being a great listener and watcher, supporter of all that we need to do to move forward, my brother. Well, thank you for having been on Politics and Right.
It's been my privilege. Thank you.
I really enjoyed that conversation with Tom today. I also did one with Greg Palace that I'm going to clean up. I posted it, but I need to clean it up for YouTube and other channels because you know how that goes. You want to make sure that it's done right. Anyway, folks, welcome. Hey, LBW Professora is here. Teachers are here. Welcome aboard Janet Ed Galuski, Mary B. Oden, David B. Fisher, Kathy Thompson, Kat, Tom Ford, Will Ferro, Diane, Jeremy Marks, and everybody else that I've missed. Thank you for being here. Anyway, folks, let's see. TMO and Egberto, Psychodynamics of the Spartacus, Superman, Popeye, Sailor, movies and TV cartoon are comic books and marvelous simple children identify with the good guys so that they can think of themselves as good. And, I don't see anything wrong with that, right? E2247, we want to be associated with the good. Unfortunately, the way we started the program today, showing the evil that lies within those who are hired by ICE, it's a shame. When you think about that older guy simply attacking that child like he did, I'm going to take 2 minutes again because I want this stuff splattered. We got a lot of new people that came in. I want you guys to see what's being done in your name. I need you to see what's being done in your name. It is evil, and there is no excuse whether these people are here undocumented or not. If you agree with this,
just grab her, pull her away. Suerte, señora. Suelta a la niña. Suelta a la niña. Adiós. Adiós. Oh my God. out, guys. Move out. Move, guys. Move out. Move out. Move out. Move out. Move out. Move. Get away. Get out of the building. Get her out of the building.
All of our country's problems, from polarization to ignorance and domestic.
Now, if you watch that, you see how that little girl look at how he manhandled her mother. That's an animal. And those are the people that you get working for ICE. These are not good people. And I want to show you the difference in response for people. And this is why I talk about if you condone that, you're evil. These are the same people that when cops put their knees on the necks of black folk or people of color, show absolutely no sympathy. In fact, these guys are no different than the cops that do that as well. Here's Mike Cisak, what he says. That's what you get for attacking a law enforcement person. I shouldn't say this, but I'm going to tell you something, Mike Cisak. You are in fact evil. You see that. You see another human being speaking like that. Brother, you are evil and heartless. You are an evil, and I should talk to my listeners and watchers like this. But when you see somebody in real time do what you saw, and somebody like Mike Cisak says, that's what you get for attacking a law enforcement person, shows no heart. He would probably be just as good with the genocide that we've effected before. And here's what he says. I'm shocked that you didn't see her attacking him. I want anybody here. I want to ask anybody here. Here's what I want to use this as a science, Radin. I want to use this as a science. Mike, in that video that you just saw there, Mike Cisak, one of our listeners, says, I am shocked you didn't see her attacking him. For anybody who is listening and watching, for all the folks, please tell me, did any one of you see her attack that supposed person, that officer? Please tell me if I missed something. Please tell me. I want to know. All of you just saw that video on Substack, on YouTube, on Twitter. Did any of you see that guy, that woman attack that woman, that guy at all? Anybody saw that? Tell me no or yes. I want to see if I am colored in my eyes. Did you see her attack this guy? Something justify him being a crude, violent animal with her? Did you see that? Did any of you see that? Thank you. Thank you. The guy was an animal. No, she didn't. She was crying and begging. There you go. Alizarin, exactly. Please listen to the song posted on Substack that I put a link to. Okay. You know, Mike Cisak, I'm sorry, you're an evil person. And I'll tell you that over and over again. I don't even know what you're doing here. You're evil. You're evil and inhumane. Evil and inhumane. All right, let's continue with the program. Thank you, Yvette Avery Herod. I didn't see that, either. And anybody who allowed their minds to lie to them shows where you're really at. And please don't ever come here and talk about Christianity or morality ever. Ever. Please. Patrick says, even if she did, do we only believe in self-defense for white people? Thank you for saying that, Patrick Magner. And let me just, for the statement that you just made, Patrick, let me just let folks know, Patrick is my white brother. I hear you, Patrick. Immoral people. Anyway, folks, we are getting up to a shutdown on Tuesday, and I am of mixed feeling. I'd like to know some of your opinions, right? I am thinking that, at first I'm like, Democrats need to shut down. They need to stop playing the sissy part, and they need to just shut down. And it is, the gut feeling tells you need to shut down. My question to you is that the right thing to do? Is that the right thing to do? They shut down, and Trump uses that to get to fire a whole lot more federal employees, and after he fires a lot of federal employees, to open the government back, which will have to be done in the long run. If they dig in their heels because they have the votes to say, we just aren't going to do anything, they also have the option to blow up the filibuster there to actually get it done. There are a lot of things that can actually get done. Is it worth the Democrats allowing the Republicans to shut the government down? I'm going to tell you where I'm starting to land. I'm starting to land that the Democrats should come out with a huge campaign. And that huge campaign would come out and say the following. And tell me, and I want to hear your opinions. Some of you can call as well and tell me. But here's what I think. I think the Democrats have been lousy. Most people don't understand that the fight to close the government right now is over people getting health care. Okay? I hear you, Michael. I hear you. It's time to block them. I am still considering reviewing my policy on that, Michael. I'm still reviewing my policy on that. I don't when it comes to things like dealing with folks, I don't make hasty moves. But I hear you, Michael. I do hear you. Let me just say this. I think the Democrats have been lousy in the way they've been talking about this last impasse. I think the fact that on my show this morning, one of the people that are in the show, produces the show in the mornings, she didn't know that this shutdown was about health care. She didn't know this shutdown was about people getting their health care costs tripled. She didn't know that. And that she didn't know that means the Democrats are doing a lousy job of reaching people. I mean, everybody should know by now this is about health care costs and what the big bad ugly bill did to increase our health care costs. They should know that. They don't. I think it's what should be done right now is, and please call me and tell me if I'm wrong. I think we should not, the Democrats should not should not allow Republicans to close the government, number one. I think they should have a massive campaign enumerating that the Republicans are refusing to support increasing the subsidies for health care, and that as such, Americans will feel the pain until they re-elect Democrats to fix the problem. And I think that should be the message going forward. That should be the message going forward. So, your thoughts? I got to close the program. We're at 3:59. But drop me your thoughts, or let me know your thoughts on Monday, or when I do the program on Sunday for our paid subscribers. Let me know what you think. Let me know what you think. Yes, but even the news is not very clear, Paul. Even I know I have relatives that didn't know it either, and they watch the news every day diligently. They don't equate it. So, anyway, I got to get out of here. I want to ask all of you who are listening to consider becoming paid subscribers. That is how we are able to do all of this. Please consider becoming paid subscribers. And how do you do that? To do that, just go to politicsdoneright.com/newsletter. God, my heart hurts after seeing that video. It's still on me, man. It's still on. I mean, man, that hurts. Please support the program by going to politics. As you can see, guys, I'm kind of discombobulated because from the time I saw the video and said I needed to bring it to you, it has been just knocking on me. Anyway, please support the program by going to politicsdoneright.com/newsletter, politicsdoneright.com/newsletter, and become a paid subscriber. Help us keep making people aware. Help us make people aware. Politicsdoneright.com/newsletter is the way to do it. Yes, Mary, it is a Gustavo. You're absolutely right. Anyway, folks, love you all. Gotta get out of here. My name is Egberto Willies. This is Politics Done Right. And you guys know how I end this baby. I am out.
Welcome to Politics Done Right. I am your host, Egberto Willies. This is a progressive program that will take the mystery out of politics. This is a program that will encourage you to make sure government becomes we the people. Whether you are liberal, progressive, conservative, or otherwise, you get to hear your point of view. We are an independent media outlet that, unlike mainstream media beholden to corporations, we only owe allegiance to you. Remember, you can also send me a tweet at EGBERTOWILLIES. That is at Egberto Willies. Let us engage. It is Politics Done Right.